world for the sake of attaining freedom. Many of you from India, you're coming to the U.S. searching for freedom. We're limited by our financial situation here in India, but if we go and we work hard in the U.S., we can attain financial freedom, from this position. But actually, this is a wrong idea, actually. This is not what gives freedom. Actually, what real freedom looks like is completely different. So Maharaj Parikshit, he's actually just attained real freedom, and it looks like it's coming in the form of one of the worst things that could happen to you, being told you're going to die. So anyway, we'll talk about what real freedom is. But before we talk about that, maybe it's good, we just chanted some verses. Maybe we talk about those verses, obviously offering our obeisances unto the chain of personalities which are giving us this Bhagavatam. Then, Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantastahi Bhadrani Vedunoti Sahritsatam. So, Sri Krishna is the Paramatma, he's the super soul within everyone's heart. And he's the benefactor, he'll benefit one who's honest, who's truthful. He cleanses the heart of material desires of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages. So what's causing us all of our troubles and suffering is that we have material desires, which are all based on the wrong idea. The wrong idea is that we are a product of this material world, and that also the matra, or that which is the senses and the sense objects in this material world, if we engage with them, this will make us happy. So this is a wrong idea. And that we are also, we are that which carries the senses and sense objects, this body. And that if we engage with the sense objects, we'll be happy. But that's actually not the case. Instead, it's the opposite. We'll be miserable when we are attached like this. So, due to this wrong idea, just like a drug addict, they have the wrong idea that drugs will make them happy, and then it makes their life miserable and terrible. And someone who's looking from the outside can say, oh my gosh, they think that these drugs will make them happy, but it's actually going to cause them a miserable situation. Like an alcoholic, or so many people who are addicted to bad habits that are hurting them. But actually we have it all. We all have a really bad habit that's hurting us. We're addicted to senses and sense objects. So why? Where is this coming from? It's our illusions. But one who has developed the urge to hear Krishna's messages, who's maybe been burnt one too many times by this suffering world in which everyone's trying to engage with the senses and sense objects of this world, not realizing they're hurting themselves. But one who's seeking a higher way and to hear Krishna's answers, they actually will, they'll have the ability to be cleansed of this illusion, which is causing them so much suffering. And so then what happens next? Nashta prayeshvabhadreshu. So all of one's, almost all the troubles that are plaguing your heart will be almost completely destroyed. And how? Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. If you're regularly engaging in Bhagavat Seva. So we did a lot of Bhagavat Seva this morning in the temple worship. Bhagavat Seva also in chanting the holy names. The chief and foremost, especially in our beginning stage, Bhagavat Seva, is to hear the Bhagavat. So that means two things. You can hear Bhagavatam, this teaching, and then also hear from advanced, or ideally a pure devotee who's representing fully this Bhagavat. And if you could render service to that type of personality, that would be an amazing opportunity. But the best thing we can do is hear the Bhagavat regularly, nityam, always, every day. This is why every day, no matter what, we sit down and the ashram, we have a program, and where Bhagavat philosophy is the chief. Why? If we don't do that, then we'll just get swept away by all of I have to do this, I got to do this, we got a busy schedule today, this, these are important things. But actually, if you're like Maharaj Parikshit, and we're in the point where Maharaj Parikshit is cursed to die at this point, he realized, oh, none of that was important. Now that this reality has come, none of these things will be important at your death, no matter what meeting you have, or what job prospect, or even what your wife and kids are doing. None of that's actually important, actually. What's really important at the end of life is that, oh, I'm going to, face my maker in some way. I'm going to face the ultimate reality, what is actually happening here. Even the atheist, it says they meet Krishna with death. That's how the atheist associates with Krishna. They have to, whatever this mystical process of death is, we all have to face it. So we want to be ready. And so this is the process of being ready. And when all your troubles are removed from your heart, what will arise in its place is love for God. Because you'll realize God is the ultimate reality. Anything else that we focus on is actually an illusion. And even though you might have to engage in these duties, you have to work to survive in this world. You can't just not work. Even if you work for the Lord and things like that, there's so many duties that have to be done. So we're not saying, no, just give up your duties and just only purely worship the Lord. No, even us here, if somebody wasn't doing their duty somewhere, we wouldn't be able to pay the bills. It's impossible. Either, like the Airbnbs, for instance, they go out and they work and they earn money, and then they use that money to rent some room from us. And we also have to go on the Airbnb app and make sure that we're available for them to rent a room, and that way we can pay the bills. So some basic maintenance in life has to be done. So you might have to arrange your meetings, you might have to arrange your job situation, all these things. But if you're doing this just to try to engage the senses with sense objects in the world, which is what the vast majority of people are doing, what's actually going to happen is a miserable result. They'll be upset, you'll be upset, everyone will be upset. Because it can't give happiness. It has nothing to do with who we really are and what's really important. So, these verses are important. Where we are right now in the Bhagavatam is, maybe I'll take this down for a second, this harmonium. It's kind of like a mountain. So where we are in the Bhagavatam is that Maharaj Parikshit, he just gets cursed to die. And it seems like a very unfortunate situation. And so sometimes we might get in an unfortunate situation. We might lose a lot of money, we can lose a loved one, we can lose our job, we can lose, some type of comfort and stability in this material world. And it seems like, oh my God, this is a terrible thing. But it actually might open up a much better thing. I'll give you an example in my life. This year I lost way more money than I've ever lost in my whole life. And I don't even know how. I got bewildered into putting my money in the certain places that I put it and thinking that this would increase money, but it actually, all it did was... And my goal with that money was to fix up this other property that we also have nearby. We had a very cheap property come, and with some past investments that we made in precious metals, we bought this property some years back. And I was hoping we could fix it this year and transfer me, my wife, and Abhiram. But it did not happen at all how I thought. And so I've been lamenting why, I understand some of the lessons I had to learn, why not to pursue get rich quick schemes and things like this. This is not good. This is dealing with greed and gambling and things we don't want to do as devotees. But I had to learn this lesson the hard way. But now I'm seeing that the way everything worked out, and now the way our life has turned out, me, my wife, and Abhiram, and more engagement with the ashram and realizing the value of these things. I'm realizing. I think something. I'm realizing what's confirmed in Shastra, that no, there's something much better, even that all this money could do and things like that. There's something much better, and even now we're in talks with someone about a potential new preaching engagement in the colder months of the year near Tallahassee, Florida. And we've been to the place before, and it's a beautiful, beautiful property. It's much better than we could have fixed up, even if we had $100,000. There's no way we would have been able to make the property we currently have nearly as nice as this other thing. But it looks like there's interest for some devotees to come and maintain the property, but also engage it in service in Krishna programs for Krishna festivals, things like that. So luckily we have some experience with this, so we'll see what happens. But I never ever would have even considered this if I didn't lose all the money, actually. And then I exhausted all the other options. It would have just not been on my radar at all. So, so similarly, Maharaj Parikshit, now it says, oh, you're cursed to die. So he immediately, what did he do? It said here, oh, you guys should see here. What did he do? Well, first, after he made the offense to Shamaka Rishi, he asked that the Lord, he regretted it, and he said, I wish my kingdom's strength and riches burn up immediately by the fire of the Brahman's wrath, so in the future I may not be guided by such an auspicious attitude. So he repented, and he said, Krishna, punish me now. I've done bad, so please let me deal with it now, immediately, so that I can be free of this karma. So, then he heard about the curse that came to him almost immediately after. A message was sent to him that you're going to be cursed to die. So what did he do? He sat down firmly on the banks of the Ganges to concentrate his mind in Krishna consciousness, rejecting all other practices of self-realization, because transcendental loving service to Krishna is the greatest achievement, superseding all other methods. Did we read that yesterday, Parth? I don't remember reading that. Which one do we do yesterday?
Yeah, this read.
This one we read. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, we read that.
We read this yesterday too?
Both the Ganges and Yamuna.
Yes. So I remember saying. So yeah, he gave up all other things, and he actually this freed him, because instead of having all these worldly considerations, now he's realizing, oh, it's all coming to an end. And when that happens, that's actual freedom. You're not entangled in this thing. Like right now, we're all entangled, I have, right now I'm even going to India, but I'm thinking about a million things. I have to tie up loose ends here, and then my wife in Abhiram, and even when I go to India, there's no way I'm going to just be fully immersed, without my mind thinking, oh, how's my son doing? How's my wife doing? How is whatever I'm managing over here, these responsibilities? Now, we offer this to the Lord. My wife is a devotee. Son should be a devotee. And this even is a temple for the Lord. But still, there's still material elements that are also there, how's the bank account doing? How is this doing, that doing, and this doing? So, but he actually got free from that, because it was like, oh, it's all coming to an end. If someone told you that it's all coming to an end, in 3 days, Divyanshu. And so, how much emphasis would you put on your job search now? None. You had not a single minute. You'd say, oh, I'm free of that. That's real freedom, actually. And actually, we don't know. We're all sitting in the world, and we don't know when it's going to be our time. We have no idea. It could happen tomorrow. So many devotees, they recommend living your life like you could die tomorrow. This is called like jivana sandho. That you're like on the verge of death at any moment here in this material world. So if we actually lived like that, maybe we wouldn't officially sit down on the Ganges and fast to death like Parikshit, because he got special mercy. So you're going to die at this time. It's very rare that you get such a merciful tell. But if we actually had, that scope and this urgency in life, we would highly prioritize spiritual life, and we just do the bare necessities in material life, just to make sure. And that's what Maharaj Parikshit did. He sat down, and he just fasted, no water, nothing, and all he wanted to do was, he was from a great family of devotees, Arjuna's grandson, and he heard about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he actually experienced him. Parikshit means he who examines. So in the womb, he had actually seen Krishna and was always looking in this world, who is that personality I saw who protected me in the womb? And so, yes, now he has a chance to do just that. So all the sages gathered. Everyone was quite disturbed when they heard the king of the world got cursed to die. He's, that's kind of a big deal. Even if, like Donald Trump, someone put a hit on him, and there was a great announcement to the world that we injected Donald Trump with a bomb, and it's irreversible, and he has 7 days to live. Everyone would gather around, whatever world leaders and intelligentsia, and want to see what's Donald Trump going to do next, So, and Donald Trump's not nearly as exalted as Maharaj Parikshit. Not even a fig in comparison. But still, everyone would... but this is actually what everyone knew. So all the sages especially, what is he going to do next? What is he going to do? And he sits down, and all he wants to do is hear from the most elevated sage on the Ganges. What is that? It'll be explained. He'll ask the questions. What should a man do when he's about to die? What's the ultimate thing? And actually, we're all about to die, and we should all learn this answer. And the Srimad Bhagavatam gives the answer of what one should actually do when faced with death. And it'll give us a perspective. So, that's all he did. He rejected all other practices of self-realization. He didn't worry about pranayama. He didn't worry about any yogic meditation, because you can't save the body. It's not worth trying to preserve the body. The curse is coming. So all he wanted to do was hear about the Lord. And this is why every day we do this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, where we should hear about the Lord. And while I'm gone, even though we won't be here to read through the Bhagavatam together, I think it would be wonderful if you guys read something together. Maybe you can read the Krishna book. Did you ever read the Krishna book? Did you ever read the Krishna book?
Not now. Start.
You started it? And so maybe you guys can read the Krishna book together. And you don't have to necessarily, you're not going to read the whole thing in 5 weeks. Maybe you do, yes.
Who have this question that since Maharaj Parikshit was nephew of Krishna,
Arjuna.
Arjuna's grandson.
What's that?
Maharaj Parikshit was Arjuna's grandson.
Maharaj Parikshit was Arjuna's grandson and Subhadra's grandson. Yes.
So, but he was sort of a grandnephew.
Yeah, he's like a grandnephew of Krishna.
Yeah. So, why didn't he reach to Krishna to resolve this issue that he's going to die?
Because a devotee, this was explained, if you, let's say you attended the other ones, this was all explained in a lot of ways. The devotee always accepts what comes as the Lord's mercy. And that especially when one does wrong, like Maharaj Parikshit, he got somehow implicated in acting inappropriately towards a sage. And then the sage's son acted very inappropriately by cursing him to die. But Maharaj Parikshit, he saw that's, especially his the Kshatriya nature, that this is my due reward. I deserve this, let me take this. So, the materialist, they're always trying to preserve their life or preserve their position or preserve their comfort or material assets. Or the devotee, they always accept and trust everything as Krishna's mercy. And so I must deserve this. This must be my lot in life. So he does like this. So it's exemplary, actually. We should also, instead of trying to be the controllers of everything, no, well, he did this to me, well, I'll counteract it with this thing like that, or I'll get Krishna to come and counteract it. No, Krishna did it. He understood that Krishna was even though Krishna's not here, he wasn't here in the world at this time. Krishna had left already.
It was after his
Yes, after he has left already. So he wasn't manifest. But now, neither were any of his uncles or the Pandavas or anyone. No one was here. He was now like the head honcho of the world. All the other devotees left already. So then now it's time for him to leave. So, Tanu, I know you have to go.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was just kind of stalling, so you actually got to hear something. So now we'll do the Mangalacharana, and then we'll do whatever new verses we have today. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, let us share this. Parth, you can maybe scroll so Devyanshu can read.
I remember this.
What's that? You know all of them. Oh. All the people online.
चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साधुजातं रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी
Gurus, spiritual masters, form of Shiksha Guru, also in the form of my Param Guru, which is Srila Prabhupada. This is his works we're studying, his purports and translations. So now Maharaj Parikshit, he's rejected everything. He just wants to sit and hear Krishna consciousness, even given up the idea of eating. We always plan out, I'm going to eat this time of the day, and I'm going to eat this thing and that thing. And then if the body is thirsty, I have to go get some water. He's saying, no. Even all those considerations are done. No sleeping, no eating, no drinking. I just want to hear about the Lord, because it's time for me to leave this world. There's nothing else that's important. Eating and drinking, this is maintaining the body, but he's already got news. He's free from the idea that he can keep this body, actually. So this is actually real freedom is there for him, where he's not bound by any worldly consideration. So let's read this. Yavaila Sachri Tulasi Vimishra Krishnang Viren Vabhyadikambunetri Punati Lokan Ubayatra Seshan Kastang Naseve Tamarishyamanaha. Yeah, the river which, Vai, always, Lasat, floating with, Shri Tulasi leaves, Vimishra, mixed, Krishnangri, the lotus feet of the Lord, Sri Krishna, Renu, dust, Abhyadika, auspicious, Ambu, water, Netri, that which is carrying, Punati, sanctifies. Lokan, planets. Uba Yatra, both the upper and lower are inside and outside. Saishan, along with Lord Shiva. Kaha, who else? Tam, that river. Na, does not. Seve, to worship. Madhishyamanaha, one who's to die at any moment. The river, Ganges, by which the king sat to fast, carries the most auspicious water, which is mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord and tulasi leaves. Therefore, that water sanctifies the three worlds inside and outside, and even sanctifies Lord Shiva and other demigods. Consequently, everyone who is destined to die must take shelter of this river. Maharaj Parikshit, just after receiving the news of his death, within 7 days at once retired from family life and shifted himself to the sacred bank of the Yamuna River. So this is Prabhupada's opinion, that it's not the Ganges. The popular opinion is it's the Ganges. Generally, it is said that the king took shelter on the bank of the Ganges, but according to Srila Jiva Goswami, the king took shelter on the bank of the Yamuna. Srila Jiva Goswami's statement appears to be more accurate because of the geographical situation. Maharaj Parikshit resided in his capital, Hastinapur, situated near present Delhi, and the river Yamuna flows down past the city. Naturally, the king would take shelter of the river Yamuna because she was flowing past his palace door. And as far as sanctity is concerned, the river Yamuna is more directly connected with Lord Krishna than the Ganges. The Lord sanctified the river Yamuna from the beginning of his transcendental pastimes in the world, while his father Vasudeva was crossing the Yamuna with the baby Lord Krishna for a safe place at Gokul on the other bank of the river from Mathura. The Lord fell down in the river, and by the dust of his lotus feet the river at once became sanctified. It is especially mentioned herein that Maharaj Parikshit took shelter of that particular river, which is beautifully flowing, carrying the dust of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, mixed with tulsi leaves. Lord Krishna's lotus feet are always besmeared with tulsi leaves, and thus as soon as his lotus feet contact the water of the Ganges and the Yamuna, the rivers become at once sanctified. The Lord, however, contacted the river Yamuna more than the Ganges. According to the Varaha Purana, as quoted by Srila Jiva Goswami, there is no difference between the water of the Ganges and the Yamuna. But when the water of the Ganges is sanctified 100 times, it is called the Yamuna. Similarly, it is said in the scriptures that 1,000 names of Vishnu are equal to one name of Ram, and 3 names of Lord Ram are equal to one name of Krishna. So, the popular understanding is this happened on the bank of the Ganges. The more esoteric understanding from our acharyas is that it happened on the bank of the Yamuna. The water of the Ganges is also mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. Why? Yes, from Vamandev, piercing the upper, from how the Ganges descends, because he pierced with his toe and the water ran past his toe. Then it's mixed with the touch of the Lord's lotus feet. So both are, correct, but the more intimate understanding is Maharaj Parikshit took shelter of the river Yamuna because it's even more sanctified than the Ganges, because Krishna himself was playing in this Yamuna and took birth crossing this Yamuna and so many things like this. So just as the 1,000 names of Vishnu equal one name of Ram, and one name of Ram equals 3 names of Krishna. So similarly, the Ganges sanctified 100 times is the Yamuna. So the Yamuna is 100 times even more auspicious than the Ganges. So this is where it'll differ from, you could say, the popular understanding of where this took place. So anyway, that's one thing there. And it even sanctifies Lord Shiva and other demigods. And it's spoken in a way which the those who are not in the know, they'll assume it's the Ganges. But those who are in the know, they'll actually understand it's the Yamuna. So actually the Bhagavatam is spoken in layers for those eligible to understand. So somebody who's more worldly or more neophyte, they might read the Bhagavatam and draw one conclusion, but those who are much more spiritually realized or on a deeper level, they can read the Bhagavatam and they can actually get a completely different conclusion just due to the level of depth. And both will be correct for the person's level, but yeah. So here, even the river in which it happened is actually different. Because one signifies, the Yamuna signifies pure devotion to Lord Krishna, where the Ganges signifies more devotion to Vishnu. So this is like this. But also, Lord Chaitanya appeared on the Ganges, so also like that. So let's read this verse. Iti vyavachidya sapandaveyaha
Divyavachitya sa pandaveyaha
prayo paveshang prati vishnupadyam
Prayo pavesham prati Vishnupadyam
dadho mukundang hrimananya bhavo
Dado mukundam grim ananya bhavo
muni vrato mukta samasta sangaha.
Muni vrato mukta samasta sangaha.
Iti, thus,
Yes.
vyavachidya, having decided, saha, the king, Pandaveya, worthy descendant of the Pandavas, praya upavesham, for fasting unto death, prati, toward, Vishnu padyam, on the bank of the Ganges, emanating from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Dadho gave himself up, Mukunda Anghrim, unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Ananya, without deviation, Bhava, spirit, Muni Vrata, with the vows of a sage, Mukta, liberated from, Samasta, all kinds of Sangha, association. Thus the king, the worthy descendant of the Pandavas, decided once and for all, and sat on the Ganges bank to fast until death, and give himself up to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who alone is able to award liberation. That's the meaning of Mukunda. So freeing himself from all kinds of associations and attachments, he accepted the vows of a sage. He was mukta samasta sangha. He was liberated from all kinds of sangha, association. There's two very important things for the increase of bhakti. That one, knowing that jana sangha, or worldly association, that can mean even relatives and family, co-workers, these things, all these people, bhaktir vinashyati, it'll destroy your bhakti. And the other important thing is sangha tyaga, that by renouncing such sangha, bhakti prasiddhyati, your bhakti will increase. So mainly it's not that we associate with nobody, but who do we associate with? Devotees. This is who the association should be. So actually one who's advancing, he'll only associate with devotees unless, some other circumstances there, that you have some necessary obligation or duty or something like this where you have to associate. And even then, when you do associate, then you'll try to, preach or, bring out the devotee in those people. Like say you visit relatives or something, you try to help encourage them in their devotional life before you leave. So, but you never, ever, ever want to be in a situation where you're constantly associated with worldly people. So that's why it's very, very important, like let's say now you guys are entering family life. Unless your partners are devotees, it's like a complete disaster, because then you'll live every day with a worldly person. So it's very, very important that both husband and wife, work together in devotional life, and if they don't, then it'll be very disastrous actually. Meaning you won't be able to make much bhakti if you get caught in such a situation. So like for Tanu and Divyanshu, you guys have a pretty good, rare type of circumstance where both of you want to practice together. And so if you keep doing like that, it's a very good situation. Parth, you have some work to do. It's not impossible, but it's not fully blossomed yet. And also, I'm hoping Madhav also does the same work, because if you don't have that, you'll get entangled in so many things that are unnecessary, and that will hurt your bhakti. So even Maharaj Parikshit, he had a devotee wife, he had a devotee family, everything was pretty good for him, But even though at that point, though, he gave it all up. Even that. So at some point also, even our devotee wife and devotee kids and devotee, there still can be sources of material attachment. Still will be sources of material attachment. At some point, we also have to give them up at death. That being said, there is an appropriate way where the wife can also join you in just the wife, not recommended the children. Can join you in detaching from the material world. And this is, one thing a wife can join you in is something called Kshetra Sannyas, where you can only abide in a holy place and only together practice devotional things. So obviously all sex life and all kinds of things that might happen between a husband and wife are finished at that point. And, there's only spiritual endeavor together. And there's no material considerations. You're not so much caring, well, what are the kids doing? And all these things. So this is a later in life, usually, type of thing. But he was forced into it, He would have never did it on his own strength, but by Krishna's mercy, in the form of the Brahman's curse, he accepted the vows of a sage. So the water of the Ganges sanctifies all the three worlds, including the gods and the demigods, because it emanates from the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead Vishnu. Lord Krishna is the fountainhead of the principle of Vishnu Tattva, and therefore, shelter of his lotus feet can deliver one from all sins, including an offense committed by a king unto a Brahmin. So this kind of answers. He could have easily just taken shelter of the Ganges. He could have gotten sanctified from this thing. But actually, he was accepting it because of he was trusting it was Krishna's mercy, that Krishna would never do anything to him that wasn't perfect. So, Maharaj Parikshit therefore decided to meditate upon the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, who is Mukunda, or the giver of liberations of all description. The banks of the Ganges or the Yamuna give one a chance to remember the Lord continuously. Maharaj Parikshit freed himself from all sorts of material association and meditated upon the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and that is the way of liberation. So, getting rid of all sorts of material association and meditating on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. This is the way of liberation. So at some point, you'll have to detach from so many relationships we have, because they're going to be detached anyway at death, when they die or when you die. So if you don't naturally do it in good consciousness, it'll be forced upon you as a surprise, or when you're in bad consciousness later on in your life, when you're trying to hold on to these things and it's time to go. So to meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord means to become free from the effects of all previous sins. The conditions of the material world are so made that one has to commit sins willingly or unwillingly, and the best example is Maharaj Parikshit himself, who is a recognized sinless pious king. But he also became a victim of an offense, even though he was ever unwilling to commit such a mistake. He was cursed also, but because he was a great devotee of the Lord, even such reverses of life became favorable. So if you're engaged in this material world, you're going to get engaged in sin. You can't stop it, even if you're like spotless of Maharaj Parikshit. Even, the way that the material world works, he ultimately got engaged in, some dispute with this rishi, and he got caught up in, you could say, sinful life. He's going to the harmonium. It's like, yes, that's what he wants. So, and even here at the temple, right? Oh, we're serving at the temple, we're doing this, but then all of a sudden some cockroaches, they start appearing. And so what do we have to do? Well, we can't have them contaminate all the Lord's prasadam, so what do we have to kill them. I've researched there's no friendly cockroach trap that keeps the cockroaches alive and things like that. So you have to be engaged in actually killing them, which is, it's actually a sinful react. That's why Krishna at the end of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vrajam. He says, abandon all dharma and just surrender unto me only. Take shelter only in me. And then he says, aham tvam sarva papyebhyo. will take all of the sinful reactions upon you. Moksha yishyami masucha, and free you from them. Don't lament. What's that? I know. I'm trying. So this is the nature of the material world. Even if you try to be a Paka Brahmin, I'll do everything sinless. No, you'll get involved in sin. The nature of the world is to involve you in sin. So you cannot stop it, actually. The only way you can be free is what Krishna says. You surrender to Krishna. He's the one. He's the only key holder who can free you, Mukund, give you liberation from these entanglements and even sin itself. So Prabhupada is quoting something from the Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto. Swapadamulang bhajata priyasya tyaktyan yabhavasya hari pradeshaha. Vikarna yachchot patitang katanchit dunoti sarvang hridisani vishta. So it means only in such a mood will the Lord help the devotee. The principle is that one should not willingly commit any sin in his life and should constantly remember the lotus feet of the Lord. Without deviation. Only in such a mood will the Lord help the devotee make regular progress towards the path of liberation and thus attain the lotus feet of the Lord. Even if there are accidental sins committed by the devotee, the Lord saves the surrendered soul from all sins as confirmed in all scriptures. So even if you do get caught up in sinful life, which you're going to be inevitably caught up in some way, you should try your best to not. I'm not going to engage in this. This is sinful, that and the other. But somehow or other, due to interacting with the material world, something sinful will come up. Whether it's at work or in the relationship or something like that. But the Lord will save that devotee and give him the path of liberation if he is surrendered to the Lord. So this is always what we should be doing, trying to be surrendered to the Lord, because even if we try our best to avoid all sins and not accumulate any bad karma, it's coming anyway. You cannot stop it, But if with the Lord, He can take it. So this is why, to become a devotee is very important. So let's, yes.
Since they just said that killing ourselves is one of the greatest sins.
Yes.
So now, though Maharaj Parikshit knew that he has 7 days to live or something.
Yes.
So, not trying to save himself, wasn't it?
Yes, so would you say, is this like suicide? No. Because one, it's not him. He didn't curse. So it's more important to honor a Brahmin's wish or desire than to try to even preserve your own life.
But
So-
leaving food and water.
What's
could-
that?
Leaving food and water could eventually lead into
Yes.
an early death rather than 7 days. It could.
Yes. So for Maharaj Parikshit and even us, you won't die without 7 days. I do every year, 5 days no water, or food, anything for 5 days, and I can easily make it another 2 days. After 5 days, I'm very much struggling, but even I can make it another 2 days, and I won't die. So most people, they can go 7 days, and nowadays people have become so unhealthy that it's difficult for many people. But if one has basic human health, that you can go days without food and water. You can go months without food, believe it or not. Months without food, and you could even maybe make it a week or two without water. Some people are so expert they can go minutes without air. I saw someone set a record recently. They went like a half an hour or something under the water, no air. But for someone like Maharaj Parikshit, it's no fear that he will die of 7 days of no food and water.
Also, I
Yes.
was in Rishikesh a few years back.
Yes.
Over there, I saw there was this one sadhu who took Jal Samadhi in the river Ganga. He basically, all his shishya were applying chandan on his body,
Mm.
and they did all the services needful services for the sanskar, and he was breathing, but he went into the water attached with
Stones or
stone,
something. Oh my gosh.
and he wanted to
Kill him.
yeah. So wouldn't that be considered as a suicide, and wouldn't that be sinful?
You know, I don't exactly know, because I've also heard both Sanatan Goswami, he wanted to kill himself under the wheel of the Ratha Yatra, you know, the Jagannath Puri, and then Raghunath Das Goswami wanted to kill himself by throwing himself off of Govardhan at some point, out of separation. It depends on the intention, but neither of them did it. One, Sanatan Goswami didn't do it because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "You're a thief, and you know you've taken my property. You've given your body as property to me for my service, and now you want to." You know, Sanatan Goswami, why did he want to kill himself? Because he had contracted a disease that was leaving his body with open sores. He had like a form like leprosy or something like this. And so every time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would embrace him, his disease would ooze out pus and touch Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sanatan Goswami says, "This is horrible. You know, he keeps touching me and I can't stop it, and so I must kill myself. I keep, putting my disgustingness on the Lord," and he wanted to kill himself. Raghunath Das Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this world, and then Swarup Damodar and Gadadhar Pandit and all of the great devotees of Lord Chaitanya, they all left, and Raghunath Das Goswami was just shocked. I don't know what to do. So he went to Vrindavan and he thought he would kill himself. He didn't have he couldn't bear living anymore. So with intention like that, the Lord didn't let them be successful, because suicide is inherently sinful, but with such great devotional considerations, it may not be sinful. Now, as far as this sadhu who tied stones and he wanted to take, so it depends, Also, an associate of Lord Chaitanya, his name was Chota Haridas. He associated with a woman. And actually, it wasn't very much association, but in his heart, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu detected he had some lusty desires, a sannyasi, which is unacceptable. So he refused that devotee's association again, and everyone was begging all the devotees, "Please forgive Chota Haridas, forgive him." And he said, "No, I never associate with anyone who associates with women, because he's a sannyasi. It was unacceptable behavior." So what ended up happening is Chota Haridas was so disturbed by losing Lord Chaitanya's association, he went in the Triveni, and he went out and swam, and he gave up his life while swimming. Now this is a religious injunction that if a sannyasi associates with a woman again, that he should kill himself. It's actually a religious injunction. So in this circumstance, actually it was seen that not only Lord Chaitanya was pleased by this, which was like shocked, everyone was shocked by this, but also when in Lord Chaitanya's meditation, Chota Haridas, he used to sing for Lord Chaitanya. So when Lord Chaitanya was on the bank of the ocean in Puri, and he was chanting, he would hear Chota Haridas in a Gandharva form, which is, I guess, his next destination, singing to him. And he was very pleased that due to Chota Haridas's decision. So in most cases, suicide is very sinful, but then in rare devotional cases, there may be a scope for suicide. So as far as this sadhu, I cannot say. I have no idea. His intention, his mood, why he committed. If there was a samskar that he performed, I'm assuming it's far better than if he were to just not do the samskar. But we can't say for sure how pleased the Lord is ultimately with this thing. But there is instance of Lord Chaitanya even being pleased with suicide, and but also there's instance he wouldn't have been pleased with Sanatan Goswami committing suicide, and then Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami actually told Raghunath Das Goswami Lord Chaitanya's conclusion for him wanting to commit suicide, and he told him, "Your body is Lord Chaitanya's, you can't just destroy it without his permission." But in the case of Chota Haridas, he rejected him, and so Chota Haridas, his suicide was pleasing to Lord Chaitanya. So it's hard to say. It's not an easy question, and it's not an easy answer. It's it's a case by case scenario. But almost exclusively suicide is considered sinful. You should never do it unless there may be some special injunction. Like if you're a sannyasi and you're reassociated with a woman or something like that, there is scope for that. There is scope for that. So, I don't know. Is that helpful? Yes, I don't know. So let's read one more verse. Tatropa jagmur bhuvanang punana Mahanubhava munaya sashishyaha Prayena tirtha bhigama padeshai Svayang hi tirthani punanti santaha Tatra, there, Upajagmu, arrived, Bhuvanam, the universe, Punanaha, those who can sanctify, Maha Anubhavaha, great minds, Munaya, thinkers, Sashishya, along with their disciples, Prayena, almost, Tirtha, place of pilgrimage, Abhigama, journey, Apadeshai, on the plea of, Swayam, personally, he, certainly, Tirthani, all the places of pilgrimage, Punanti, sanctify, Santaha, sages. At that time, all the great minds and thinkers, accompanied by their disciples and sages, who could verily sanctify a place of pilgrimage just by their presence, arrived there on the plea of making a pilgrim's journey. When Maharaj Parikshit sat down on the bank of the Ganges, the news spread in all the directions of the universe, and the great-minded sages who could follow the importance of the occasion all arrived there on the plea of pilgrimage. See, now this is what's pretty wild to me. Like Prabhupada was saying, like, no, it's definitely the Yamuna, and now he's saying, well, when he sat down on the bank of the Ganges, so now I'm like confused. But anyway.
It could be Ganges because geographically Hastinapur was somewhere near Meerut.
Yes.
And Indraprastha was near, like, the Delhi.
Yes.
So, Meerut, like, Ganga is like 2 hours away from. So, it could be possible it was Ganga, it could be possible it was Yamuna.
Yes. So they, our acharyas say due to Maharaj Parikshit's devotional nature, he would have definitely picked the Yamuna. But for the, because Bhagavatam, what? No. This is Prabhupada books. Is anything when Prabhupada was on the planet, anything that he gave blessing to, it's in Prabhupada books. So, yeah. So anyhow. So actually they came to meet Maharaj Parikshit and not take a bath of pilgrimage because all of them were competent enough to sanctify the place of pilgrimage. Common men go to pilgrimage sites to get themselves purified of all sins. Thus the places of pilgrimage become overburdened with the sins of others. But when such sages visit overburdened places of pilgrimage, they sanctify the places by their presence. Therefore the sages who came to meet Maharaj Parikshit were not very much interested in getting themselves purified like common men, but on the plea of taking a bath in that place, they came to meet Maharaj Parikshit because they could foresee that Srimad Bhagavatam would be spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. All of them wanted to take advantage of the great occasion. So the sages foresaw what was going to happen, that Shukadeva Goswami would appear and enlighten Maharaj Parikshit. And it's a very interesting situation. The ruler of the world is now taking the vrat of a sage and fasting to death on the Ganges, waiting for his curse to come. So it's kind of a big deal. So they all came there on the plea, on the pretext of, we're going for pilgrimage. It's time to bathe in the holy Ganges or the holy Yamuna and like this. So, we are duplicitous because we want to be material enjoyers. But sages are duplicitous for a different reason. Their duplicity is they want to please the Lord and serve Krishna. Or they want to hear more about Krishna. So they'll say, there's some excuse. Like a lot of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, they were so duplicitous with Lord Chaitanya. Why? Because they were greedy to have Lord Chaitanya's association. So Lord Chaitanya, he said, I want to go to Vrindavan. And so, but like Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I'm like, oh, but you can't go to Vrindavan yet. We have, this festival is coming up. You have to stay and observe this festival. You know, the Ratha Yatra or this and stuff. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, okay. And so then they observe the festival. And then all of a sudden he's ready, okay, I want to go to Vrindavan. And he's like, well, not yet. You have this another festival is coming. And so they would always try to trick Lord Chaitanya. But this duplicity is for the sake of wanting to, please the Lord, because they wanted to serve the Lord. So it's actually sanctified. It's good. So the sages, their duplicitousness. Oh yes, we've come here for pilgrimage, but really, what did they want to do? They want to hear this conversation of the Harikatha coming from Shukadeva Goswami. So they all gathered there. We'll end here because now the Bhagavatam is actually going to come, and when we come back, we'll study it. Divyanshu and Tanu, I don't know where you'll be. Maybe you'll have a better idea tomorrow or something. But I don't know where you'll be when I come back. Maybe not here, and you're on to the next thing, and I'm saying, all right. So I maybe say goodbye to you. But if you are here somehow or other, I would love to. We'll in the future, if we get a feedback. Parth, you're stuck with me, unless you leave your body. So, or I leave my body. Maybe I'll tie some stones to me, and yeah. So we'll see what happens. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. There's no more. Any question? Anything good? End? You're okay?